Assalamu alaikum warahmatullah. It's Amin again from Muslim CEO. In this video, I want to talk about vertical integration because I heard an interesting story that in the UAE, there is these delivery apps like Uber Eats, for example. There's a big one called Talabat, okay? And the crazy thing about Talabat is they've been plowing tons of money into marketing. I'm sure they've got a huge user base using the app, and they've got loads of restaurants signed up for it and stuff like that. However, Talabat charges 25 to 35% on the order, right? So if you get an order for $10, that means Talabat is taking 2.5 to $3.5 from that. Now, what does that realistically leave the restaurant with? Zero profit, right? Very little profit. So they're putting tons of money into marketing. Of course, that's how they justify you paying them that money. But the restaurant owners kind of got fed up, okay? And what they realized, I suppose, is that they're so dependent on Talabat and these other kinds of apps that maybe they should do what's called vertical integration. And that is when you take control over another part of the business, right? So, for example, you usually have like three sides of any business model, okay? You have the production, if you like, of the product. You have the delivery of that product, and you have the distribution of the product, okay? So for example, let's think of a can of tuna, okay? So a can of tuna, there will be a factory that makes that can of tuna. Then there will be a company that asks that factory to make the cans of tuna, puts their branding on it and everything, and they're doing that. And then distribution would be the supermarkets, right? So these are three separate companies all involved in that chain of getting that tuna to the end customer, okay? But what you find, and I think more and more it's happening because of the ability to go just direct to the customer online, is that people are choosing to go vertical integration. So they're saying, like Apple, okay, very good example. Apple versus Microsoft, for example. Apple, they don't have factories that make chips, okay? They hire factories to make their chips and their phones and everything. Do they actually design and kind of put the products together, right? Yes, they do. They own that part of the chain. And then do they distribute it themselves? Well, yes, they have their own online store and they have loads of their own physical retail stores. So they own 2/3 of the chain here. Okay, they own 2/3 of it. Now, Microsoft got into hardware recently, selling their own laptops, etc. How much do they own? Do they own the factory side? No. Do they have retail units where they can sell? No. Do they have online? Yeah, they probably do. Okay. So they own much less than Apple of that whole chain. And when you own all three sides of that chain, obviously you're going to make a lot more money. It also makes your business a lot more complicated. But it's something really to consider. And it's something that even I was talking to a publisher yesterday, and he was basically saying that the only way he can really make money is either getting a huge order from a distributor for his books or to go direct to consumer. So I was really saying, well, go direct to consumer, learn that game, play that game. You can shift more copies and you don't have this gatekeeper saying, well, I don't really like this book, so I'm not going to put it in the stores, right? So these restaurants in the UAE, they decided we're all going to come together and we're going to all chip in a bit of money and we'll create our own online app delivery service, basically. And we'll see how that goes for them, because like I said, you get control over that part of the chain, but then it adds complexity. So before you were just a restaurant, now you're a restaurant that has to have manage developers and manage the bugs and the glitches and this and this and this and a whole delivery network of motorbikes or whatever, right? So it does often complicate things, but if you can pull it off, it's really profitable and it's really beneficial. And it's especially beneficial when it comes to competition, because who can compete with you when you own more of the chain than they do? Okay, so I hope this gave you something to think about business models, about distribution, about how you get your product to the market. Are you selling directly or are you relying on gatekeepers? Can you bypass those gatekeepers? Can you buy out those gatekeepers? Because that's sometimes what happens as well. And how can you take advantage of these, this idea of the chain and vertical integration to compete better in the market? I hope this was useful. Check the link below in the description or in the comments to get our free training. Yes, free training to help you grow your business and have more impact. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.